Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nachou. Welcome to the house. Don't forget to subscribe because that's our only rule in the house. You can do whatever, you can share your opinions, girl. You can be mad, you can like, you can dislike, but you have to subscribe. That's the only rule. Because listen, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Let's just be right here. You're gonna watch the other videos, okay? So why not just, get yourself the key so that way you can just enter the channel whenever you want. Subscribe, all right? Now, today's video is a bit different from my other videos, but it goes in the same direction of my ministry, which is wellness. I just always want to try to teach wellness, whether it be through you glamming up, whether it be through you fixing your hair, whether it be through you thinking differently, or getting advice. It's always wellness. Anywho, today I'm going to talk about something called double ignorance. And don't think that just because there's the word ignorance in there that it's necessarily negative. It is a flaw in our society, but trust me, we're all guilty of it, all right? And so I think that this video, I hope actually that this video is gonna be an eye-opener for you, or it's at least gonna pop up in your head next time maybe you answer a question or you try to make a decision for a move that you're trying to make in your life or whatnot. So last week, or I think 2 weeks ago, I'm not too sure, I went on Twitter and I posted this. Basically asking people, what is the difference between a muffin and a cupcake? And I'm going to be showing y'all the answers. I want y'all to focus on the answer. I'm not going to be showing the ats or like the names of the people because this video is not to embarrass them or to shame them. We're all in the same boat, to be honest. It's really to show a social vice that we have. So here are the answers that I've received. Now, as you can see in these answers, they came up with an answer off the top of their heads. And when I would come for their answer, they either changed opinion or they changed your answer, or they said, well, I don't know, I'm sorry, or they just didn't answer, right? And I found that interesting, that for a simple question that I asked and that I didn't force people to answer, right? Keep that in mind. I didn't force anybody to answer. And it was a simple question that was easily Googleable. Oh, and by the way, this is the answer. People had the reflex of simply answering off of what they knew, which in hindsight wasn't enough. And then when I would deconstruct their answer, they were like, oh, well, try to come up with something else, instead of having the reflex of doing research. There's a similar experience that was conducted, I think a couple of years ago. I'm thinking 2016. I don't want to misquote it. I'm gonna just leave it in the description box. However, it's in French, so if you don't speak French, I'm sorry. I can explain it to you though. Basically, it wasn't a philosophy class, and the philosophy teacher, it's an intro class by the way, and the philosophy teacher asked a simple question, which was, by show of hands, do you love philosophy? Do you like philosophy? And people showed, like, they raised their hands. People that liked philosophy raised their hands. Then he said, or she said, okay, who doesn't like philosophy? And people rose their hand. Who is indifferent? And they rose their hand. I believe he asked why, or she asked why. And the answer to those people was like, well, I don't know what philosophy is. I think like 2 or 3 people in that classroom that said, I don't know what it is, so I can't kind of give a judgment. And those were the only 2 or 3 people that were correct with their answer. Because when you would ask the other people in the classroom, the people that answered yes or no, they couldn't provide you with the answer of what is philosophy. They didn't know what was philosophy. However, they knew if they liked it or not. How so? And that is double ignorance. It's not knowing that you don't know something. And that is a social vice that we all are guilty of. When we're asked a question and we kind of go off of our assumptions instead of just saying, I don't know, or just staying silent. When, for example, when non-Black people come up to us and say, well, discrimination is over. I don't know what you guys are talking about. These are new times, da da da. When we live it and they don't. And so because they don't live it and they don't see it around their areas, that they think that it just doesn't exist when it actually does. That is double ignorance for you. I was watching actually a video which prompted me to kind of do my little research, you could say. And it's by Abba and his cousin Alpha, where they were just talking about how they're critical thinkers. And Abba, I believe, said that he is totally fine with not knowing something. He much rather stay silent.
I've got to inform myself. I don't feel ashamed about it.
Some people feel really ashamed about being ignorant.
It's part of life, though.
Yeah.
You can't know everything all the time.
Being ignorant is actually super acceptable. What's unacceptable is being ignorant and feigning knowledge, because then it's arrogant. What you will become is arrogant. You are someone who is stupid in regards to a topic. So I won't say stupid. Someone who's ignorant in regards to a topic, but you are feigning being an expert, which then means you are misguiding other people who are hearing what you have to say. And I tell people all the time, like, you'll hear me preach on videos and I won't talk at all, because I don't know shit about the topic. And I'm more than happy to let him do all the talking, because he's far more knowledgeable. And at the end of the day, I think the world needs far more of that. We need people in the positions of leadership and power who are actually knowledgeable about whatever they want to preside over. I am perfectly fine with not only not knowing, but I'm also fine with, you know, at least, like, especially in regards to my own life, I'm fine with not knowing how things are gonna go.
So from that, I want y'all to understand that it's okay not to have the answer to something. Unfortunately, we've been conditioned to have the answers or to find an answer with the little information that we have. Think about the school system when we're like 16, 17, expected to make a choice for a career path and stick to it when we don't even know who we are most of the time. We're so young. We don't know much about life. We don't know much about ourselves, but we're expected to make a decision that will impact us for 10, 20 years possibly. And also when you're learning how to read in high school, when you're reading a sentence with a word that you don't know and they expect you to try to find the sense that it could maybe have. Now, obviously, most of the time we're right in these circumstances, but what happens when we're wrong? We kind of go, well, I mean, you can look it up in the dictionary. But all in all, our first reflex is to go off of the little that we know.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
I received lashes from the King Company. Let me show you guys the packaging. Super nice. I got them in the cut Noble Destiny. So it's what I'm wearing right now. Super beautiful. I kind of call it spider legs, where there's like spacing. There's gaps through the feathers, I guess you could call it. And basically the hairs look super natural. They're feathered, so it's mink 3D mink lashes, sorry. It's super feathered, super nice. It comes in this cute packaging. Look at this. I could use this as decoration, girl, on like a shelf or something. On the inside, they have John 15 verse 12 in French and in English, because obviously we live in Canada. The lash band is thick enough for it to be resistant, so you can reuse it, but it's thin enough to conceal with your eyeliner or just your lash line, and it looks super natural. Obviously, this is my first day trying it, so I might give y'all an update eventually. But yeah, I like it, so go follow them. The links are on the description box. Go check them out, all right? Bye, girl.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
The biggest and most recent example of us going off of the little that we know instead of waiting for information or looking for information is the pandemic. Remember at the beginning of the pandemic, there were all these conspiracy theories about it's the aliens coming back, it's the 5G, 10G, 29G towers or whatever. It's this, that, and the third. You had the Cheeto Puff president of the United States talking about it's because of this country that all of us are sick right now, and et cetera, et cetera. We were all making assumptions. I include myself in it, but we were all making assumptions off of nothing. Because we didn't have enough evidence. We didn't know what was going to happen. But for some reason, the human brain has a reflex of just creating assumptions off of things that we don't know. And that is dangerous, because especially in the situation of the pandemic, you see how a whole group of people were discriminated off of lack of knowledge. So my goal with this video is to repeat to you one more time that it's okay not to know the answer to a question. It's okay not to know what's gonna happen next week. It's okay not to know if you're gonna be okay financially or socially. It's okay not to have the answers. And too often society wants to push onto you that you have to have the answers, that you have to know what's going to happen, that you have to know things. And as the examples have shown, you end up either looking silly or you end up hurting people without even knowing. So next time that you have to make a decision for something, or next time that you're presented with a concept that you don't know and you have to judge that concept or whatever it is, do research. I want you guys to recalibrate your reflexes into researching things you don't know about first, instead of giving judgment on them. Furthermore, if you don't know the answer to a question, don't answer it. Just say you don't know, or just look it up. Because in 2020, we have Google, even though sometimes your sources are not sure, but you can even check that out on Google. We have books, we have YouTube, we have so many resources through which knowledge is at our fingertips. So instead of going off of the little that we know, because honestly, most of us know almost nothing about the world we live in, go for research. Always be curious. Always try to find out why. Question your reactions. Question the things that are happening around you. Question the friendships that you have, the relationships that you have. Question everything around you so that you can have more knowledge on them, so that you can be more sure and be more accurate. I read a book called The Art of Not Giving a Bleep, and it says in there that in life you don't go from being wrong to being right. You just go from being wrong to being less wrong. And think about it. 10 years ago, you said something that 5 years ago you were just like, oh no, I was wrong. And 5 years ago, you said something that today you're like, yeah, no, didn't mean that. And today you're probably gonna say something that in 5 to 10 years you're gonna be like, or even maybe next year, you're just gonna be like, yeah, I didn't mean that, I'm sorry. We don't go from being wrong to right. We go from being wrong to less wrong. So always keep that in mind, that what you're saying might not be right. Always keep researching and try to sharpen up that reflex of you leaning towards research more than you're leaning towards your own concepts, your own understanding. So that was it for my video today. I hope that it was insightful for you guys. I hope that I made sense. If you guys have any additional comments on the topic, if you guys have any topics that y'all would suggest me, leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time. All right, deuces.